we're back, baby. Yes.
I delayed mine for a bit. For the effect. Welcome to the Abyss, everybody. Thanks for coming back.
That's pretty good. Loose boots, huh?
Yeah, Loose Boots. It's an, I don't know how to say that, APRES, Apers IPA, Roadhouse Brewing. So, 2 good beers last time.
Yeah.
So I had 3 shit, 2 good.
At least it's not 10% today, you know. Not going to
No.
feel tipsy mid-cast.
See, the reason for it is because I didn't have time to hit the liquor store today. So this is a gas station beer. And if you know Utah, gas station, you can only get up to 5%.
Okay. Used to be worse.
Used to be worse. It was what, 3.5 is what it used to be?
It was 4% by volume. That's how they usually grade it outside of the state of Utah.
At least in gas stations and grocery stores.
Utah,
you can still get it at the liquor store.
It was 3.2 by weight, but that's
Yes.
the equivalent of 4% by volume. This is 5%.
Yeah. So, good stuff.
We have some interesting events that have happened recently for the podcast.
Yeah, we've had an up and a down.
Yeah.
Another down.
Do you want to start with the up?
Yes, I do want to start with the up because it's kind of funny. We got a new paid supporter of the show, and oddly enough, it's probably the funniest name I've heard.
Yeah, I guess
it's a supporter who goes by Cleat Meat.
What is that supposed to mean? I have questions.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm curious. It's not Cleats meat. Like there's no possession in there.
It's insinuate it's my penis.
Yeah, probably, but
it's cleat meat.
Cleat meat.
Is someone wanting to eat me? What does that mean?
I was gonna ask if you've made any other enemies.
Let us know in the comment section what you think that means. I'm very interested. The downer we got was one on our was it the Playtime Haunted Daycare episode?
It was that far ago?
Yeah, it was a while ago. And they write, I hate the bombing attempts at humor. Over bubbly and just car crashing interruptions to the actual subject at hand. Not your wheelhouse, boys. Find another thing to chat about. Now,
all right.
You know, I'm just curious what that means. Like, does he mean like the entire horror concept, or is he just like, hey, you're not funny, so talk about trucks?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
I have questions. Are you asking us to steer away from comedy or steer away from horror? Because I'm going to tell you, I couldn't sit and do comedy on a podcast the whole time, nor could I sit and do just horror.
Yeah, my meat disagrees with him. Maybe. I don't know.
Wow. That's a little odd. My meat is in disagreement. That's 2 weeks back to back with a negative comment.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's funny. I'm not upset about it. Although the comment that I read last week was from back in September. I just didn't catch it until recently. This looks like it was just from yesterday, huh?
Yeah, showed up yesterday.
All right. Well, user, whoever you are, if you want to, elaborate a little bit more, let us know. Sorry that you hate the show, but hey, thanks for the listen you did give us on the daycare.
Thanks for supporting the show, you dingleberry.
But yeah, I didn't realize driving to your house that I was going to be driving into fucking Mordor today.
Yeah,
over at my house.
Blizzard.
Yeah, it's like my house is like, it's been overcast for the past week, which I love. I'm an overcast person. But I'm driving here and it's literally this big black, wall of clouds that I'm driving into, and it just starts dumping snow.
It's caused by me, man. It's my personality.
Yeah, I made the joke that when you drive into the ass end of Utah, you get some really bad weather. Cleet didn't find it too funny. All right, so for today, we're actually going to be covering a viewer submission from Haley, my own wife. And so she submitted this a long time ago, and it's the Porco murder, Porco murder. It's actually a wild case. I don't know if you've actually heard about it before.
Murder.
So you got more serial killer stuff coming in. And Cleet, what are you going to be covering whilst I'm talking about this?
Strange disappearance where this guy may have been murdered.
Oh, okay.
And if we have time, just a filler episode.
Okay, let's do it. Well, folks, buckle up, put your seatbelt in, because you're in for some car crash jokes coming up, and we're going to fit them in where they don't belong.
The old car...
Just out of spite.
Damn it, shut up. The old car crash delight.
Yeah. And I might lose track of what we're talking about, because apparently we do that. And our jokes are not funny. And Cleet doesn't know how to read. And apparently we're a bunch of women who just don't stop talking.
And it's goddamn meat.
I wonder if it's the same guy who's just making new accounts, and he's like, I just hate you guys.
I'm honored that someone is supporting the show named it after my penis.
Okay. Good.
Allegedly.
My
just
penis
supports the show.
I mean,
I'm holding it up. Holding it strong.
Yeah, well, get it out of the way before camera gets on the show, because then that's a whole new world of trouble that we're in. Okay, anyway, on to the murder story, the Porco murder. On November 15th, 2004, 52-year-old Peter Porco, who was State Appellate Division Court clerk, was discovered dead from brutally massive head injuries in his home in Delmar, New York. Peter was found in a pool of his own blood near the front door of his home. His wife, Joan Porco, who was a children's speech pathologist, was found in the couple's blood-soaked bed with similarly brutal head trauma. But, unlike her husband, she was still alive. Joan survived the vicious attack, but was permanently disfigured, having lost one eye and part of her skull. Shockingly, Peter would also go on to live after the attack, unfortunately, only for mere hours after. Upon waking up, this is the crazy thing, right? So, he woke up that morning, Peter, and he carried out his regular morning routine. Got out of bed with these head injuries, half his head missing.
Oh my God.
His wife, half of her head missing, gets out of bed and goes through his total morning routine. So there were a couple reports that said he did shower.
There's no way. Because then when he lathered up with the shampoo, rinsed and repeat, he was going to figure it out.
Well, the thing is, though, is it could be adrenaline. You just don't know. If you're missing half your fucking face and that much blood loss.
Man, my hair feels spongy.
So there was very few reports of him showering. So I don't know if he actually took a shower. What I do know that he woke up, he went about his morning routine. He had 16 hits to the skull and jaw. 16, okay? His routine consisted of writing a check to Christopher, who was his oldest son, or his youngest son, making a packed lunch, and attempting to load the dishwasher, right? So he did all of this. At one point, he even made his way outside to grab the newspaper, but he locked himself out of the house. Surprisingly, he was able to remember where the spare key was kept and was able to let himself back inside. So I can't even fathom sitting in my living room, having a cup of coffee, look out at your neighbor, comes out missing half of his fucking head.
Just the old routine.
Yeah, I just don't understand. That's crazy that no one saw him as he goes outside, locks himself out. So he's probably out there for a few minutes, going down the driveway to get the paper.
If I saw him, I'd be like, he's never going to get ahead in life.
And you really pushed that joke in where it didn't belong.
Where's he really headed, though?
I was trying to think of something to come back. Heads or tails, I don't know. But trauma and shock are really crazy. Just the fact that he could sustain those levels of injury, still wake up and perform those tasks as if nothing happened.
Well,
it's crazy.
Sure.
Especially like you said, if he did in fact get into the shower and lathering his head, imagine trying to lather your brain.
Your brain has very specific spots where you process certain things. So, supposedly if you just had certain damage in very particular spots, you might be able to function to a limited degree. There's a very small spot in your brain that helps you with language processing. And if you just get hit with a spike there, you'll never understand language again.
Like a railroad spike
or something.
Ice pick?
Yeah.
A lobotomy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Shock and adrenaline are crazy. But like you said, there's parts of the brain that, if interrupted, man, it sends things into spiral. You think of a chicken, can live without his head for how long? I think humans, the body will go for a few minutes or seconds. I don't know.
Well, there was a guy who went through the guillotine, the one who created it, the French dude, and he did a test where...
Imagine creating your own death device.
Yeah, he ended up killing himself with it, and he was blinking to try to show
how
long
because
he was alive until
that's right.
Just became dead. And I think he did it for a little while. I don't know how much it was, but it was surprising when I read it.
I forgot about that. Where he's I'm going to keep blinking, and when I stop,
it was a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? You're just ahead for a couple minutes.
Yeah, he really got ahead in life.
Where is he headed though? Hell.
I think the head fell. I think the head fell into a bucket.
What a car crash joke! I'm out of here.
Yeah,
fuck this.
Not your wheelhouse, Cleet. Find something else. When police searched the house, they came across an axe in the garage that belonged to the family and happened to be the weapon used in the attack. So 16 axe chops to the face in the jaw, and this guy gets up and gets ready for work.
Yeah, just a regular Tuesday.
Crazy. Joan reportedly told the responding officers that her son, Christopher Porco, was the one who carried out the attacks. The Bethlehem police would soon focus their attention on Christopher as the prime suspect. Christopher was the younger of two sons and was a student at the University of Rochester, which was roughly 230 miles away from the home. Christopher was at the university when his parents were discovered in their home, and when questioned, he said he had discovered about the attacks via a reporter and returned to Delmar that evening. You buy it? You buying it?
That sounds legitimate to me. No further
230
questions.
miles away, learns about the attacks from a reporter.
A perfect alibi.
Right? One would think. Christopher was described as a troubled young man with a penchant for burglary and lying.
With a giant axe collection.
Yeah. He loved collecting axes. This one's just a little bloody and hairy.
You guys are discriminating me because I happen to collect axes.
I don't see what that has anything to do with this murder case. He was in severe debt and later forged documents to secure a loan in his father's name to help pay tuition and buy himself a new yellow Jeep. You know, the important things in life. Supposedly, the Porcos learned of his action and both emailed him discussing their concerns with his behavior. I think it's funny that they emailed their son. I don't think I've ever received an email from my mom or my dad.
Yeah, I think
it's like a text or a phone call.
Yeah, that's correct.
Even a letter. Like, who emails their kids? I don't know. In Peter's email, he advised that he was going to be forced to file forgery affidavits if Christopher ever attempted this action again. Not shockingly, the Porcos were attacked shortly after those emails were sent. So he forges this information, buys himself a Jeep, pays off his tuition. Dad finds out, emails him, and then later he's missing half of his face.
I don't see the connection. Sounds like he's just living his best life.
So, even though Joan had pinned Christopher as the one responsible for these brutal attacks, he denied any involvement, mentioning that he was asleep at the campus during the time the attacks were taking place. That's the wild thing about technology nowadays, though, including surveillance footage, which showed his yellow Jeep driving in the direction of his parents' home mere hours before the attack.
Wow.
The Jeep that his daddy's money bought.
Well, that could just be a coincidence.
Is it? It might be. I don't know. It was discovered that on November 15th, 2004, which was the night of the attack, that the Porco's security code had been used, which disabled the alarm system in the home. The telephone line was also cut from outside. Prosecutors claim that this was done to make the invasion appear as a burglary. He thought of everything, man. He thought of everything. Before we move on, let's go to Cleats.
All right. This is a story of someone who was almost murdered. I was a freshman in college, and in my first semester, pledged for a fraternity. One night, I was assigned to work the door at a party, which is not uncommon, around 1:30 to 2 a.m. A group of guys that worked at the dining hall, I remembered the one because he made amazing cheesesteaks. Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's been a while since I've had an amazing cheesesteak.
They showed up and each paid $5 per cup. A few minutes later, after they paid, the last keg kicked, and none of them got any beer. As soon as they told me that the kegs just kicked, I started counting out cash to pay them back for the cups that they had bought. Before I could get any of them their money back, one of my drunk pledge brothers decided to physically force them out of the door whilst yelling, shit-talking them.
There's nothing better to do than to shit-talk while screaming at somebody.
Hey, if you're drunk, you might as well start a fight. It's fun. Anyways, as soon as I could calm my buddy down, I went outside to give them their cash back, only to be met with a big, big surprise.
Oh.
When I made it down the back steps, cheesesteak guy aggressively steps forward and says, "Y'all made a big motherfucking mistake. I'm strapped as a motherfucker."
Oh my God.
Pulls a handgun out of his waistband and points it directly between my eyes. In that moment, it was remarkable that 18-year-old me didn't shit his pants immediately.
I love the fact that it's named Cheesesteak Guy. Like, obviously that's not his name, but that's what he's referred to as.
He makes good cheesesteaks, but damn does he have a temper.
And you made a big motherfucking mistake.
He's not afraid to kill people.
You've made a cheesesteak-sized motherfucking mistake, boy.
A few of the older guys in the house stepped outside and were able to talk the guy down without incident, but it felt like I had a gun pointed between my eyes for an eternity. Long story short, I was incredibly lucky that I didn't get shot that night. Needless to say, I went without cheesesteaks for a few semesters after that night.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So does that mean like they invited him back for like cheesesteaks? Like, or
I just think
lost his appetite for cheesesteaks?
Yeah, I think that he was so nervous about Cheesesteak Man waving a gun at his face that he couldn't stomach the idea of eating a cheesesteak ever again.
I fucking love cheesesteaks. They're so good.
Pretty good. They're pretty good. I was going to say something. It's right there on the tip of my tongue. And now it's gone. Probably because it doesn't belong. Okay, so back to this. So the investigators found out security code was used, phone line was cut. During the investigation, Christopher had told investigators that he had retired to his dormitory lounge during the night of the murders to go to sleep. Now, police had a theory that he had driven more than 3 hours to Albany in the early morning hours to attack his parents. A New York State Thruway toll collector outside Rochester said that a yellow Jeep Wrangler with large tires passed the station at roughly 10:45 p.m. on the night of November 14th. And a collector in Albany advised of the excessive speed of the Jeep Wrangler as it approached the toll shortly before 2 a.m. on November 15th. There were 4 security cameras on campus that recorded a yellow Jeep Wrangler leaving campus at roughly 10:30 p.m. on the 14th and returning on the 15th at 8:30 a.m., which matched the exact period of time the prosecutors claimed the Porcos were attacked.
Goddamn Porcos.
A neighbor also reported seeing the yellow Jeep in the family's driveway on the night of the attack. Several students on campus admitted to not seeing Christopher sleeping in the dorm that night at all. Uh-oh, now his friends are out to get him. During the investigation, authorities would determine that Porco had a history of antisocial behavior, which included the burglarizing of his parents' home. So he's raided his parents' home before. In 2005, Bethlehem police made a trip all the way to San Diego, California, to retrieve a laptop that Christopher had stolen from his parents during a break-in on July 21st, 2003. After stealing the laptop, Christopher had sold it on eBay. You know, that's what you do with stolen goods. You just go straight to eBay. Authorities stated that Christopher staged a burglary at his parents' home where he stole the Macintosh laptop and a Dell laptop. 1 month before the attack, both Christopher and Jonathan Porco had their eBay accounts frozen as they shared the same Delmar address. So that's his brother as well. So both of their eBay accounts were frozen. The accounts were frozen as Christopher never sent several items that he had sold on the site and that people had already paid for. Typical eBay scam. So get this. Investigators showed that Christopher posed as his brother and would send emails to those customers stating that his brother had died and was unable to deliver the items.
Damn.
So it's like, yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I know you bought a laptop. He died. You can't get the laptop. That's what he did. It's just so smart, right? Such a smart con.
He's a smart guy, yeah.
Like, who would have thought of doing that?
I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Fuck you.
Sorry, you don't get a laptop. Did you ever think about being a little remorseful that my brother died?
Yeah.
Where's the grievance?
Please be responsible for your mistake.
Yeah. Don't buy things off a dead person.
Yeah, dick.
During the investigations, police described Christopher Porco's behavior as being consistent with the diagnosis of psychopathy and sociopathy.
You think?
A little bit. He consistently scammed and defrauded others with a lack of conscience or remorse. There was the lying and forging of documents to obtain tuition money and a new Jeep, as well as lying to other students on campus, claiming that he came from a wealthy family and that he had lived in oceanfront homes all his life.
Oh, yeah. That's quite the...
I am so wealthy, I've never not lived on the oceanfront.
I grew up by the ocean, you know, and the waves, they change you, man. They mold you.
It's like, you smell that? I've forever smelled the salt of the ocean. Because that's where I've grown up.
Change big rocks to little sand.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Once Joan was able to emerge from her coma, she stated that she was unable to remember the attack and that her son Christopher was innocent. So if you remember, like, the first thing she said, well, not the first thing, but when, you know, they arrived and she's like, yeah, my son Christopher did it. So after her coma, she's like, no, I don't think he did it.
What?
I think he's innocent.
Oh, damn.
During a videotaped testimony that was submitted to the grand jury in December of 2004, Joan testified about her family, however, did not identify her son as the attacker. She also wrote a letter for publication in the Albany Times-Union where she urged authorities to leave Christopher alone and, quote-unquote, search for Peter's real killer or killers.
He was straight up her son. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, so that he can rest in peace and my sons and I can live in safety.
What's up with that family just not dying?
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, she lost, like, lost an eye, like you're permanently disfigured. Okay. So, yeah, she writes that letter. She's like, my son's innocent. Leave him alone. Go actually find the real killers, yada, yada. I'm wondering if, like, Christopher was like, Mom, you need to, like, not do it or I'm going to take more axes to your head. I don't think that's actually what happened, but, like stab it. Yeah, I did it, but leave me alone. Like, I'm sorry.
What's an X between family?
You're my family. You have to forgive me. Christopher's employer, a veterinarian named John Kearney, testified during trial that Porco had been trained extensively on cleaning up after animal surgeries, which explained how no evidence or blood was found in his Jeep when he left his parents' home after the attack. He just knows how to clean up blood real well. Defense attorney Terrence Kinlan claimed that the Bethlehem Police Department had no physical evidence that linked Christopher to the attack of his parents and murder of his father. No fingerprints were ever recovered from the axe, which was found at the scene of the crime. Statements to the press suggested that the Bethlehem Police Department made Christopher's guilt a foregone conclusion. This is actually kind of funny and interesting. During the opening remarks to jurors on June 27, 2006, Kinlan said that the Bethlehem police were unfamiliar with a serious crime investigation, describing them as a department that chases skateboarders away from the 7-Eleven. This is not the FBI.
Who do you think we are? We just get those skateboarders away from the 7.
Like in court, like this department doesn't handle serious cases. They're used to chasing drunks out of the gas station in the middle of the night. Like it's wrong. It's a foregone conclusion. You don't have the evidence. Like what a court trial to be a part of. It's just crazy how he's just roasting the police department this entire time. Laurie Shanks, Kinlan's co-counsel and wife, claimed that the police overlooked the very real possibility that Peter's death may have been an act of retaliation against his uncle, Frank Porco, who was a captain in the Bonanno crime family in New York City.
Names. The Porcos, the Banana crime
family. Yeah, the Banana crime family. Bonanno crime family in New York City. There's a bunch of crime on bananas. Police had actually followed that lead, and Frank served 2 years in prison for loan sharking and extortion. Shanks incorrectly told jurors that he had been indicted for his involvement in a murder. It's a pretty big mistake to make. Like, no, he went to jail for murder. It's like, no, it was loan sharking and extortion. Shanks noted that Frank's nickname in the mob was the Fireman, which would tie him into the murder as an axe was used in the attack. Kind of a stretch. It was actually a fireman because he worked for the fire department. But they're like, look, he was called the Fireman. There was an axe, so it's definitely him.
It's him.
So she's just, I don't know, she's doing what any defense attorney would do, right?
Lie.
Try and get their person off. The Porco trial began on June 27th, 2006, and was held in Orange County due to the intensity of media coverage in Albany. Another reason, obviously, was the fact that Albany County judges have been recused as Peter Porco worked in the courthouse as a law clerk. On August 2nd, 2006, the prosecution completed its case against Porco, which started the much shorter defense's case. On the morning of August 10th, 2006, the jury began deliberations. Later that same day, Porco was found guilty of second-degree murder and attempted murder. On December 12th, 2006, Judge Jeffrey Berry sentenced Porco to 50 years to life on each count, totaling a minimum of 50 years in prison. Judge Berry was quoted as saying, "I fear very much what happened in the early mornings of November 15th is something that could happen again. Porco will be eligible for parole in December of 2052. Christopher Porco is currently incarcerated at Clinton Correctional Facility. He appealed his conviction to the Appellate Division, 3rd Department, and New York Court of Appeals, both of which were rejected. He then appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, which declined his case without opinion." So yeah, he'll be in jail for the rest of his life. So it's crazy because this story, like just the fact that, I don't know, like he shows up, just starts axing his mom and dad, leaves, and then the dad gets up that next morning and does his morning routine. Like it was funny because I was researching this and there was someone that's like, is this the first zombie proof that zombies exist? Thinking that the dad like woke from the dead.
At all. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's the first zombie. This guy was hacked and woke up and had a breakfast sandwich and then got the newspaper. Obviously. It's exactly what zombies would do.
Obviously, zombie outbreak.
Yeah.
It's a cover-up. Really?
Yeah.
From AMC.
It's actually what it is. So they just found this guy who drove a yellow Jeep and it's like, we're going to blame this on you.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's actually a zombie, but you got to go to jail for life.
Sorry,
because
man, zombie
it's your dad. It just makes sense. He sent you a very aggressive email because you took money from him, but it's actually a cover up from the zombie apocalypse.
Makes sense.
So you have to go to jail for that. But hey, good news is we caught it. We're good. Sorry the zombies running your family, and we're good to go, right? But that is the Porco murder. Thank you very much, Haley, for the suggestion and recommendation. Cleet is going to finish this off with...
A disappearance murder of a German citizen.
A German citizen, huh?
Yeah. This is from Lars Mittank. Mittank? I don't know.
Mittank?
I'm going to say Mittank. I think it's cool. Mittank.
Mittank.
I'm gonna get you
It's Mittank. Cleet meet Mittank.
On July 8th, 2014, 20-year-old German citizen Lars Mittank was at Bulgaria's Varna airport, awaiting his flight back to Germany. As reported by All That's Interesting, Mittank stood up from his chair and shouted, "I don't want to be here. I have to get out of here." He then dropped all of his personal belongings to the floor, including his cell phone and wallet, and began running.
What?
According to witness reports, which were confirmed by security camera footage, he ran down the airport hallway, out the door, and across the airport property. He then climbed a fence and continued running into a heavily wooded area. After entering the woods, Mittank was never seen again.
What the hell? So just out of nowhere, stands up, doesn't want to be here.
No,
I don't want to die here. I'll have to get out. Okay.
Like he was in mortal danger.
And he's the only one who did this.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's crazy.
So, Visaka reports authorities released the airport's CCTV footage in an attempt to gain information about Mittank or his disappearance. The footage was eventually uploaded to YouTube and attracted more than 16 million viewers. Although there are numerous theories about what may have happened to Mittank, neither he nor his remains were ever found. On June 30th, 2014, Mittank and several friends had flown from Berlin to Bulgaria, where they planned to spend 1 month in a resort town of Golden Sands. As reported by Visaka, Mittank and his friends were having a great time until they got into an argument with another group of men over their favorite soccer clubs.
Yeah, that happens. You got to be careful who you discuss soccer with.
Amid the argument, Mittank got separated from his friends and was reportedly attacked by 4 of the other men and punched in the side of his head. Lars Mittank did not initially realize how serious the injury was. However, he was eventually forced to seek medical attention. Visaka reports he was ultimately diagnosed with a possible concussion and a perforated eardrum.
That would hurt, dude.
The doctors prescribed Mittank an antibiotic and warned him not to fly, as the pressure could cause him intense pain or further damage to his eardrum.
Jesus.
Therefore, he was forced to stay behind when his friends caught their scheduled flight back to Germany. Mittank left the resort and booked a room in a cheaper motel in the city. In a later interview, one of Mittank's friends said he was relaxed and seemed to be in a good mood when they left him in the motel. However, Visaka reports he called his mother, Sandra, later the same evening in a state of panic. During the call, Mittank said he believed that he was being followed by a group of men and was in fear for his life. As reported by Visaka, he also asked her to cancel his debit and credit cards because he was afraid he would be robbed.
This is all over soccer, huh?
Yeah, goddamn soccer club lovers. Sandra said she thought her son was in danger and she could hear his heart pounding over the phone. Late that night, in the early hours of the following morning, surveillance cameras captured Mittank pacing in the hotel foyer, peering out the windows, and at one point apparently hiding inside an elevator.
Like he called it a foyer. It's the foyer.
Foyer.
Fancy.
Lars
He was pacing in the hotel foyer.
Visaka reports that Lars Mittank appeared restless in the footage and eventually left the hotel at approximately 1 a.m. Although he later returned, it is unknown where he was or what he was doing while he was gone. In the early morning hours of July 8, 2014, Mittank called a taxi to take him to the Varna airport for a flight back to Germany. When he arrived at the airport, he sent his mother a text message to let her know that he arrived safely. As reported by Visaka, he then visited the airport's medical clinic to ask a doctor whether his eardrum healed enough to allow him to fly. Dr. Kosta Kostov said Mittank questioned him about the antibiotic he was prescribed by the other doctor. He also said Mittank seemed to be nervous and erratic while he was performing the physical exam. Mittank was waiting in a chair when a construction worker walked into the clinic. Visaka reports Mittank began trembling when he saw the man. He then stood up and abruptly fled.
God, dude, to live in that much fear would be awful.
I'm just so
It just walks in, he's like, I'm out!
I'm so scared.
I can't die here!
The unusual nature of Mittank's disappearance and the fact that he never was found has sparked numerous rumors and theories as to what may have actually happened. One of the biggest questions is whether Mittank was actually being followed or stalked by a group of men. As reported by Dark Tales, it is unclear who actually attacked Mittank on the night he was injured. Although Lars Mittank told some of his friends he was attacked by 4 men they argued with at the bar, Dark Tales reports he told others he was attacked by someone hired by those men. After his friends left for their flight home, Mittank said he believed he was being followed by the men who attacked him. During his phone call with his mother, he specifically said 4 men had threatened to kill him. The identities of the men who attacked Mittank are unknown, and it is unclear whether they pursued him following the initial attack. However, he may have been experiencing side effects from his medication he was taking or paranoia linked to the head injury. As reported by Visaka, the antibiotic Mittank was taking can cause a number of symptoms, including dizziness, but they are unlikely to cause a mental disturbance. It should also be noted that he said that the soccer fans paid someone to attack him before he started taking the antibiotics. Although he was only diagnosed with possible concussion, Visaka reports head injuries can cause unusual behavior.
This thing is just wild.
It has also been suggested that Mittank had a mental disorder. Paranoid schizophrenia, for example, can cause paranoid delusions about being pursued or being in immediate danger. However, Mittank's family said he did not have any history of mental illness, and nobody in their family has ever been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Other sources suggest Lars Mittank was a victim of human trafficking. As reported by Visaka, Bulgaria has one of the highest rates of human trafficking in the European Union. Essentially, locals and tourists have been taken against their will and forced into sex work, drug smuggling, or used as slaves. They have also been killed for their organs. As reported by Casso criminals, some sources have suggested that men who attacked Mittank were involved in drug or organ trafficking and may have actually been pursuing him to be used in their trafficking ring.
That makes sense why he was so fucking afraid, dude.
Give us your organs. It has also been suggested that either Mittank or his friends were either voluntarily or forcibly working as drug mules. Visaka reports it's unlikely that Mittank was involved, as authorities did not find any drugs among his personal belongings. However, it has also been suggested that his friends who flew back without him were the ones who had ran drugs back to Germany, and he stayed behind as some sort of insurance.
The plot thickens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Who wrote this? M. Night Shyamalan?
Oh, what a twist! Ooh.
It would be your favorite story, if so.
As reported by the Free Press Journal, other theories suggest Mittank was hallucinating because he was taking drugs, may have committed suicide due to a mental illness, or may have planned his own disappearance and simply does not want to be found. Unfortunately, the lack of evidence in the case has made it impossible to prove any of these theories. In 2019, a truck driver picked up a man in Dresden, Germany, and dropped him off in Brandenburg, which is close to Lars Mittank's hometown of Berlin. As reported by Berlin Spectator, the truck driver said the man strongly resembles an older version of Mittank. In the following years of her son's disappearance, Sandra Mittank has heard hundreds of similar claims that her son has been seen in numerous locations throughout the world. The reports have given her hope that her son may be alive. However, as reported by the Berlin Spectator, she thinks he may have suffered memory loss. The truck driver said the man he drove to Brandenburg had long...
You said that like such an advertisement. Who drove to Brandenburg.
Had long hair, a beard, tired eyes, and his face was gaunt. Sandra said that her son has certainly aged since he went missing and will likely appear disheveled. In stark contrast to the photos in the original missing posters, she is specifically asking people in Berlin and Brandenburg to keep an eye out for anyone who resembles her son.
Insert town name here, Brandenburg.
As reported by All That's Interesting, several law enforcement agencies, including Germany's BKA and Federal Criminal Police Office, have been working on Mittank's case. The case has gained a lot of interest on social media and has been featured on news programs in Bulgaria, Germany, and the United States. Unfortunately, a vast majority of the report sightings have been ruled out and no trace of Mittank has ever been found.
Damn. So what's your take on it? What do you think happened? Abduction, drugs?
I think he got harvested for organs.
Think so?
Yeah, he went to the old kidney factory.
Kidney beans. All right, well, Cleet, it's been a while since we've talked to some ghosts.
Oh, yeah, we're
Should we bust out the spirit box?
The old stink box?
Stink.
The old spirit box? I'm down.
The old butt box?
Want to see if Chris is still here? He's like, I saw.
It's been a long time since we've talked to the ghosts.
It's been a long time.
All right, we're going to bust out the spirit box.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, we can see him. Okay. Is there any ghosts with us?
He said bitch. I just called you a bitch. Really? Is Chris here with us tonight?
I think called you a hoe, dude.
I think it said help.
I said hoe. Alright, what am I drinking?
Is there anything that you wanted to tell us?
Are you happy ghosts or angry ghosts?
What? How many ghosts, or how many spirits are with us right now?
Listen to this thing. I think you offended him, man.
I didn't call him an idiot. How many spirits are with us? 6? None?
I don't think there can be none.
Is there anything that we should know about?
Is there anything buried in the backyard?
Where do you go when you die? No? You just don't? Is there a heaven or a hell? I keep hearing a female's voice. Is there a female spirit with us? And if so, what's her name?
Chris, are you here? Does it hurt being dead?
devil.
You just called me a bitch.
I think so. It's the second time.
I didn't hear a bitch.
All right, before we wrap up, is there anything that you wanted to tell our listeners? Get yourself a potty mouth, spirits. Do you kiss your dead mom with that mouth?
Alright, we're gonna turn it off if you don't say something cool in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5. 1. Say it. Anyway, our viewers need to hear.
Fuck. It's hard for us to hear because obviously, like, our headphones are all jacked up and shit. That was fun doing the spirit box. It's been a long time. We'll have to bust out the ghost rods or whatever. But a big reminder, once we get 500 subs on YouTube, we're going to be making our way out to Nevada for the Clown Motel on camera. So you guys can see our overnight stay. We're currently sitting at 460, so just 40 away. And we're going to be taking a trip out to Nevada using the ghost box, Ouija board, spirit rods, and alcohol. Lots of alcohol, and you can see the entire thing. Thank you for supporting us. To our 9 paid supporters of the show, including our newest, Cleat Meat, Claytor, Lord of Soup, Curtis and Lara, Jackson, Mothman, Lara, Devin, Conklin family, and Lou. Thank you all for your continued support. And whoever you are, Cleat Meat, thanks for jumping on the wagon of support. We really appreciate it.
The old meat wagon. Well, if you're listening to us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe, as it really helps us get us out there. And as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.